Previously on my Banger to Bull series, I managed to buy a cheap Vauxhall Astra which needed a little TLC. I refurbished the wheels, replaced the rear bumper, replaced the tailgate and fog lights, fixed a couple of scratches and installed the car for an amazing profit of £700. And here we are again on the next step for me getting a supercar on my drive as we go to find flip number 2. So yes, here I am again, trolling through Facebook Marketplace. Not really sure what I'm looking for as yet, but I'll just keep looking till I find something that really catches my eye, that I think has got a bit of value in it if I fix it. Oh, I think I've found the one. It's a nice little Fiat 500, 2014. It's got a couple of problems with it as well. I think I'm going to go look at this one. So let's go check out this Fiat 500 and see whether this is going to be value for money. I think there's a lot of profit in this for me. So let's get down there. It's a bit of a journey. It's a 1.5 hour each way journey for me to check this out. And then I'm going to have to get a trailer and go back again. But hey, that's not part of it. Let's get down there. Let's check it out and see what we've got. Right, we have arrived, so let's go check out this car.
1 hour later.
And guys, we've done it! I am now the owner of a 2014 Fiat 500 as car number 2 from my Banger to Bull car flipping series. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I paid for this car, but I managed to get them down a bit on the price as well. Does need a new battery, that's granted, so I'm going to have to buy one of those source batteries because it's stop-start battery, so I think it's a bit more expensive, but that's not a problem. I'll be able to cover that in the money I've just saved by the haggling that I've just done for this car. I'll give the prices, I'll give all the breakdown, the money later on in the video, so obviously stay tuned for that. And hopefully I'm going to come back tomorrow and pick this up on a trailer. For me, that's going to be over a day of planning and sorting out, but for you, it's going to be instant. Right, so here we are, we've got my daughter's car, we've got the trailer, let's get it hooked up and let's get on the road to go pick up this car. That's it now, trailer dropped off. Great place, this Tow One trailer's absolutely fantastic. Only cost 50 quid to hire that trailer for the day, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Let's get back home and let's show you the car that I have bought.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you.
And here she is. Let me tell you what I know about this car. So it's a 2014 Fiat 500S. It's got about 115,000 miles on. When it was advertised with a couple of issues, which I thought I can fix for not a lot of money. So I think there is some profit in this for me. So the main reason they are selling this car is because it's got a battery drain issue. Now, this is a common issue with Fiat 500s, and I've investigated that, and it's the Blue and Me unit that's inside the car. We'll get to that later on. But looking under here, we can see we have a battery that, yes, this is being put in the wrong way. I asked them to do this. The battery was removed from the car when I first looked at it. I said, well, stick that battery in. They say this is a faulty battery. It was new in January, I think they said. And yeah, I think the car has drained this battery and it's not good. I'm going to whip this out, I'm going to put this on charge, and we're going to see just whether it will hold a charge. Underneath, the engine looks pretty good. But there is an issue, and we will get to that again later on. Bodywork itself is very good. What we have got is just a couple of little marks here that are going to need a bit of paint. And one thing that would annoy me is round the back here, we've got the this has lost all its red paint. So I'm going to see if I can put a little bit of red paint on that, because first impressions always count on these things. And if somebody comes and sees that looking good, you know, they might want to buy the car. But apart from that, it's actually not in bad condition whatsoever. Now, mechanically, I think there is two issues with this car. One that I know of and one that I've been told of. So the one that I know of is there's a bit of an engine noise, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the other one, apparently there's a knocking from this rear wheel, but I've not heard that yet. But we can jack it up and we can have a look at that when we get the car in the garage. But let's get the battery connected, get it fired up, and I'll show you what the other problem is. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the microphone near to here, and I'll let you listen to what's happening when I put the clutch in. Hopefully you can hear that sound now. That's with the clutch out. And we've got to press the clutch in. So yes, it's going to be a thrust bearing problem, so that's going to need that replacing. And if we're doing that, I might as well place the clutch and the clutch plate as well. I've got that on order, and that's arriving very soon. So let me just show you the inside. Absolutely lovely inside here. Look, bit of wear on the steering wheel there, but that's 115,000 miles to be expected. But the rest of the car itself is in very, very, very good condition. Now, if you look here, we have the mileage flashing. That's indicative of the blue and me unit faulty. And the other test is if you turn the stereo on and then press the button here, nothing happens. And that again is part of the blue and me unit. Just showing you where the blue and me unit is. It's actually behind that panel there. I'm sure if it's too dark in here, but that is a pain in the backside. We've got to take this rear bench out. There's quite a bit of work to get to that. And that's going to be the first job that we do on this car. Well, having said that, the very first job I'm going to do is give it a clean, because this car is absolutely filthy. I can't work on it like this. And there it is, it's cleaned up absolutely lovely, I must say. I've had a good little round as I was cleaning it, and I haven't really seen, well, there's no dents in any panel, which is great. I've just found a couple of things, like I think I might have shown this on camera before. It's going to be hard to see now, it's wet, but there's just a bit of clear coat missing there, and a bit of clear coat missing there. But hopefully I should be able to fix those later on in this video. We've also got these damage down here, and again I will attempt to fix that later in the video. But for now, we're going to start by fixing the battery drain, because obviously I want to get a battery back in this car so I can stop and start it without having to get my jump pack out. So to do that, we're going to have to remove the blue and me module. This is the known issue. Now, unfortunately, to get this out, it means removing all the rear seats and removing that panel over there. Now, I've seen a few videos where people have done this without taking the seats out, and you know what? They've kind of struggled getting that panel out. So it's only going to be a few bolts in it. So let's take the seat out and let's crack on and let's get that Bluetooth module out, because then I'm going to tell you what I've found of the way to fix this at a very, very cheap price. What the? Had another fault to this thing, gang. Can't open the real tailgate. Oh, let's go inside to see if there's a way of doing it. So luckily, these seats will come down quite easily. So we just press that down there. We can get the seat down and we get full access to the rear. Let me get some light on for you. There we go. We get full access to the latch there. Now, I just found that this little black thing here, if I just push this in, that releases it and the rear deck is released. So I'm going to have to do some investigation to find out why that's in the way. That's going to be later on in the video, but let me carry on with my job, which was to get this side panel out by removing all these seats here. Let me go get some tools. And from the back we just drop the seats, and that gives us access to this bit here. That should hopefully now allow me to remove the seat backs from the car. Now we can see that this plastic panel goes underneath this, goes underneath that, goes underneath that, has the seat belt on it. Oh, pain in the backside. So next thing is we're going to need to remove this, so we can remove this panel to start pulling this out. That's only held on with the two poppers at the bottom here and hooks at the top. That reveals now, screw here, screw down there, and another one over there. Also just realised that the rear seat belt obviously is bolted over top of this panel as well, so let's get that out. Right, so I thought I'd seen somewhere where someone complained about getting this out, and that has sheared off the bolt. Look at that. So that's annoying, because what we'll have to do, we have to drill it out and get another thread in there. So there must be rust behind that or something to make that not want to move. Ah, what a pain in the backside. All right, well, we'll sort that out later on in the build. This should mean now we've got just about everything that we need off this. Right, before I force it, guys, I've just noticed there is another screw just under there, look. Just holding this panel down at the bottom end, so let me get that out. Right, should come out nicely now. And that now gives access to the Blue and Me module, which is that thing there. But Fiat in their wisdom have decided to rivet this in place. Thank you, Fiat, that doesn't cause me a lot of hassle. Let's go get the drill, let's drill these rivets out. And now this module should come out. So now you can see how you need to push in that little blue bit there to lift this up all the way to release the plug. And she's out. So as usual, it was over to eBay and just start hunting through, and as you can see, look, there is a few of these modules available, but the problem is, as far as I'm aware, you have to get these coded to the car if you buy these. So looking a bit deeper into this, I found these. And these are guys who do repair services. You basically send in your Blue and Me module to them, they repair them and send them back. And look at the price. That's nothing, including free delivery on return. So I think this is the route I'm going to take. Right, so next job, before I go shell out for a new battery, I'm going to take this battery out, I'm going to stick it on my charger, leave it overnight and just see whether it actually charges up. Now the person I bought it off said they'd tried that and it doesn't, but I want to see for myself. I don't want to go waste £100 on a battery if I don't need one. So what we'll do, not sure if you're going to be able to see that, hopefully you can. We'll check the voltage before. Ah, it's 11.6 volts, you know, this battery might be all right. It's held a charge, hasn't it? Right, that's what we'll do. Let's get my charger on it. So negative to negative, positive to positive, and turn it on, and we'll do a normal charge rate, so we'll leave it ticking over, and that's charging. So what we should see is the voltage. Here we go, it's going up, look. 12, 11, 4, 12. We'll check back later on the battery. So meanwhile, while we're waiting on that battery, that means I've got to shift my baby, my beautiful i8, out the garage so I can get the feet in here and we can start working on that clutch. Well, this thing looks tiny in my garage, even though I've got a bit of a small garage, but that's great. That gives me a lot of room to work on this car. So let's, first of all, what we need to do is get it jacked up and get those wheels off so we can get underneath and start doing this clutch. that gives me stacks of room to work under there, but interestingly, both those front wheels only had 3 bolts instead of 4. It looks to me like someone's had a locking wheel nut kit on this and then removed them when they sold the car. What? Good job I never drove this car home. Oh, quick update. So I've just been checking the battery, and if you look now, it's actually dropping. It's 11.88. It's gone up, but it should go down. It's not holding the charge basically. This was up to 12 point something and it's dropped down to 11.89. I'm going to bang it on charge anyway. I'm going to leave it on charge overnight. Let's see what we've got tomorrow. So next I spray all of the bolts with some release agent WD-40. So first job, we need to drain the oil, but to do that we're just going to loosen the filler plug to make sure that comes out. And here's my first mistake. I thought this was the drain plug. I don't know why. It just seemed to be the lowest bolt underneath the gearbox. So I removed this, and yeah, to my amazement, watch what happens when I pull this out. That's worrying. So I go to drain it and nothing comes out. So that's just a bit worrying there for me.
What an idiot!
Alright, let's put that bolt back in there loosely for now. Does that mean I've got some sort of oil leak, or have I tilted the car back too much that it's not draining? So next we need to remove the hub nut. Followed by the lower ball joint. And then remove the drive shaft from the gearbox end, and yeah, look, you can see the oil coming out now. Now this end of the drive shaft was way tight and would not budge at all. So I had to bring out the big guns. And then it was just a case of doing exactly the same thing on the other side. Now that I know what I'm doing, it was a little bit easier. And then it was just a case of getting under the car and just releasing all of the bolts that are holding this gearbox on. And to be honest, it was pretty straightforward. Let's just have a quick break from the clutch and let's just go and have a quick check on this battery, see how it's doing. So this battery's been on charge all night. Let's just turn the charger off now and remove, and look what's happening. I've tested this earlier. Look how it's dying. So it's got it up to about 13, nearly 14 volts, and look at that, it's just dying down now. So unfortunately this battery is not holding charge. Well, luckily what I've done, I've gone and bought a replacement. So we'll get that one in later. We don't need to put it in at this moment because I'm still working on that clutch. Let's get back to it. We need to remove this bolt from a support bracket that was attached to the gearbox and the engine. And then we needed to remove these bolts, which are holding a bracket on from the rear gearbox support mount. As you can see here, this was a big bolt. I had to push it above the exhaust to get it out. Then I removed the bolts just holding this little cover plate on, and removed the cover plates. And then there's a few other bolts that also needed removing. So that's apparently everything undone from underneath the vehicle that we need to do. So now we need to undo the parts from the top. So we start with the battery tray. Now it's only 3 bolts holding this in, but once you got past those 3 bolts, there is so many cable clips and straps and those ECU plugs you can see there as well, connected to the actual battery box, that you've got to remove before you can take the battery box out. Here releasing the gear linkages, they just need a screwdriver to put a bit of pressure on them and they pop off. And release a few other bolts, and then we use a jack underneath to support the engine while we then release the main engine mount. We then remove this bracket, and that then gives us full access to the engine mount bracket behind it. So now with everything released, or so I thought, it's just a matter of jiggling the gearbox to separate it from the engine, but it would not separate, not at all. So I did a bit more investigation. Right, so I've just been juggling that gearbox about the best part of an hour, and I'm thinking, this ain't right, it's not coming apart, what's going on? Have I missed a bolt? Now I went round the actual bell housing and I checked all the bolts that I could see. I couldn't see anything. And then I looked a bit further, and yes, I have missed a bolt. And looking inside, I just looked here and I moved these aside, and it's almost the same colour as the bell housing. There's just a bolt there, look, that I've missed. It was lower down, I expected something to be near the edge, but that one there I think holds the starter motor in place. Right, let's get back underneath, see if that's now released that gearbox. And yes, surprisingly enough, it did release the gearbox. And now it's just a case of going round one by one and removing the bolts that hold the clutch on. And I took these out in pairs and spun the clutch round so I could have them at the bottom and easy access. And now we just need to remove any grease that could be on the clutch plate before we assemble it. Right, so I've got this cheapo US Pro clutch alignment tool, and it comes with 3 different sizes for the centre plate. So I'm assuming that one's too big, that one's too big, that one is just the right size, which will go through there, look. So we need to push this through here. So this goes right through, so the plastic is showing there. Now we can tighten that up with this knob. That should expand the plastic. Right, that's jammed in the centre now of that clutch plate. And then we just tighten this bit at the back, which pushes that bit onto the fingers, centering it, and in the essence centering the plate as well. So that doesn't look centre at all. It's off to one side. What's going on? Yeah, so basically I just slackened it off and then just moved the clutch up and down, left and right, until it was dead in the middle of the clutch plate, and then retightened it all up. Hopefully I'm going to be able to remove this once I put all the clutch in place. I'm pretty sure I will be able to. Right, let's get it fitted back to the car. Now I've got to admit, this was an actual pain. I had to jiggle and jaggle the gearbox around to try and get it in a position where I could get the clutch inserted with the clutch alignment tool. And when I thought I'd got it in line, like here, I put the clutch in, tried it, but the alignment tool was catching on the gearbox input shaft. And at last I managed to get it in a position where I could get the clutch in. But if you look there, I've had to jack the gearbox up on a little piece of wood just to keep it out of the way. But now I'm going around tightening up all those bolts to make sure everything's nice and tight. And next to a case of jiggling the gearbox into position until it's nicely closed up. And now we can replace the engine mount bracket. And then get the actual engine mount back in place. Now this has like a big centre bolt there, and then a couple of bolts there, one at the back and one at the front. So we tightened those up and then got the torque wrench out and torqued them up to actual spec. And once that was back in, I could release the jack from under the engine. And then we just need to replace all of the other bolts and torque them to spec as well. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased how this is going really, because I've never done a gearbox before, so this has been quite interesting for me. So back on the top there now, get the battery tray back in, get all the wires and clips and everything that are attached to it, as well as those great big ECU plugs that need plugging back in, and then we can get the battery back in. And next it was get those drive shafts back in. There was a bit of a faff, but managed to do it and tighten up the hub bolt, and obviously get the low ball joint back in place. And of course, not forgetting to add 1.6 litres of new gearbox oil. Right, now let's get the wheels back on and get this one off the axle stands, and that's this job finished. Right, so that's it. So let's fire it up, see if the clutch works, and see if that noise has disappeared. Starts lovely with that new battery. Right, I've got the clutch in. Let's release the clutch. Oh my... What? Oh, it's still the same. Clutch down, clutch out. Ah, let's just make sure I've got the gearbox right. Yep. Reverse. Yep. No, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I mean, she sounds sweet, doesn't she? Does it rev up? Yeah. Yeah, it does. That sound does get louder. You know what? That's a gearbox issue, isn't it? Oh. Ah!
Oh, you are so stupid.
I should have thought it through more, really. You know, thinking about it, when the clutch is out, the gearbox is engaged in neutral, so the main input shaft is spinning. When you push the clutch in, you disengage the gearbox, it stops spinning, noise goes. So this is probably bearings from the main input shaft of the gearbox. Ah! Right, what I need to do is, I need to get that gearbox back out. Now I've just done this, I should be an expert, so I know where all the bolts are. So what I'm going to do, not going to put you through the pain, we'll just quickly time lapse. And she's out. Right, now we've just got to find somewhere that can repair this or get me a reconditioned gearbox. Let me go and investigate that. Right guys, so I did a bit of hunting locally to see anybody who builds gearboxes near me, and there is one and he's been recommended, but he charges a lot of money. He charges £350 plus VAT just to recon my existing gearbox. Now just had a look on eBay and look at this, I found this guy here. So searching through and I found this one here, look, so this is this here. And they do Fiat 500 1.2 petrol, which is what I've got. 12 months warranty as well, £260, and what you get is, if you exchange it, you take him your old gearbox, he gives you a fully reconditioned, and look at this one, this is absolutely brand new. Now, look at this also, he's got make offer, so I'm going to make him an offer. Right, I'm not going to be too cheeky because I just ignore it, but let's make him an offer of £250, which I think is a good offer. Right, the offer's in now, so I've got to sit back and wait for the reply. For me, I don't know how long it's going to take, but for you, it's going to be instant.
The next day.
Now, unfortunately, they didn't accept that offer of £250, but I've gone back in at £260, the full price, so let's get this in my car and let's get it to Birmingham. All loaded up, so it's off to Birmingham we go in the Skoda. Right, we've made it, so this is the place, Adelaide gearbox. And engine's reconditioned. Let's get in there and get this gearbox swapped over. New gearbox in the car, look at this. It looks almost brand new. Let's get this strapped up, get it home, get it back in to the Fiat. And we're back home, so let's get the gearbox out the car and into the garage. Oh my word, what a mess. My garage has never been as messy as this, but this is what you get when you're working on engines and gearboxes and things like that. It's a lot messier job than just doing some of the other stuff I've been doing. This is taking me out of my comfort zone, which is really good because I've never done a gearbox, I've never done a clutch on a car, but I think it's going all right. So I've got the new gearbox there, as you've just seen, brought it all the way back from Birmingham, so now it's time to get it installed into the car. I'm just going to go ahead and do this and come back to you when it's done.
Many hours later.
Right, it's all back together again, so now let's get the battery in and let's fire it up and see if that sound has gone. Oh, I really hope so. Right, time to start the car up and oh, fingers crossed, I really hope this has fixed it. Here we go. Right, neutral, here we go. Oh my word. Oh,
Fixed it.
she sounds beautiful. Listen to this. Yes, fixed, thank God for that. So it was that input shaft on the gearbox giving that horrible wearing sound. Now, sweet as a nut. But I've got a few little jobs just to finish on this, just to finalise it, and then that job is complete and it's on to the next job. Oh, look, I've tidied up. That's much better. Right, so I just had returned the Blue and Me module, which is here, and this should now be all fixed. But interestingly, what the guy said was, it wasn't a faulty component, it was corrupted files. So he's kind of reflashed it all and added my VIN and done I think it's a proxy alignment you've got to do. I think he said he's done all that, so this should be just plug and play. But what he did say, word of warning, just make sure that the charging circuit and everything is good in the car, because that would maybe make this do the same thing again and I'd have the same fault on. So to check the battery, I'm going to get my multimeter, we're going to set it up on the battery there and then turn the engine on, start her up and make sure that it's getting at least 13.8 volts to the battery, which should mean it's going to charge. Right, you see there we've got 1207 at the battery at the moment with it just sat there. So let's fire up the engine and see if that goes up to make sure the alternator is charging this battery. And there you can see we've now got 13.9, which is acceptable. That means the alternator is going to keep this battery charged. Now just inside, just to confirm, there's not too much flashing going on there, but you can see that the mileage is flickering, which is reminiscent of a problem with your Blue and Me unit. So let's get that plugged back in and see if this all goes away. Pretty dark in the car in the garage, but basically just pull this unit back off and all we're going to do is we're just going to basically plug this in loosely and just then see if everything starts working again. Is it that way or is it that way? Right. Okay, so Blue and Me back on. Right, let's go check it out. Reconnect the battery and turn on the ignition. Now, got lots of errors coming up. That's because the front bumper's still off. They should all clear, I would think. Oh, no flashing mileage. No flashing mileage. Right, turn on the stereo. See what we've got here. And let's press the Bluetooth button. Oh, hey, Blue and Me voice. So that is all working nicely. No flashing mileage. Everything's all good. Everything's plugged back in. Shut up. So I just need to replace that on its plate and get that riveted back in the back and put all that back together. Now that gets us to the problem with the snapped off bolts, if you remember, from the seat belt, which should go in there. But look, this is only a little bit further back. So if this happens, you can mount the seat belt under there to that bolt, which is just as strong, if not stronger, than that one there. So that's what I'm going to do. So now the Blue and Me unit's back in, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop these wheels on and take it for a little test drive just up and down the street, because when I bought the car they did inform me that there was a little bit of knocking from the back wheel. I haven't experienced that yet, so I just need to test it, and also we'll give the gearbox a little test going up and down the gears, make sure everything's good there. Now yes, I'm only putting 3 wheel bolts back in here. I do have the set now. I bought a locking wheel nut set for this car, so I'm just going to put the 3 in. I'm not going to do any speed, I'm just going up and down just to check that the gearbox and that there's any knocking at that back wheel. Right, here we go. This is actually my first drive in this car apart from putting it on the trailer. Oh, I left the battery disconnected, didn't I? Right, try again. Sweet. Right, reverse gear, here we go. Ooh, smooth. Clutch is good then. Brakes are good. Right, so I'll stick my seat back on, so it'll probably start binging and bonging. First gear. Nice. Whoa, hey, she drives absolutely beautiful. Because it hasn't been on the road for a while, I think the brakes are a little bit rusty. I think what we maybe need to do is take that rear drum off and have a look and just see if we can see anything. Steering is light as a feather on this. Right, just wang it around this corner, because I think when you put some... No. Can't hear any knocking, just some... sounds like binding, but the rear drums, maybe they sound like that? I think what we need to do is just get that rear wheel off and just have a look, see if we can see anything. Well, all in all, I think that was a successful first test drive. Everything's looking good on the dashboard. I've got no warning lights. Yeah, let's pop that wheel off and just see if we've got any issues with it. So question's going to be is, are we going to find just 3 bolts holding this wheel on as well? I think we are. Yep, only 3. Oh my word, look at the state of that. Ooh, dear me. That's not looking good, is it? To be honest, the suspension is pretty sound. It's just a spring in there, that looks good, there's no cracks. Got the shock absorber here, that's solid. Yeah, there's no wear there. And really, that's it. So I reckon the noise is from this thing. So let's get this off and let's have a look and see what we've got. Right, so removing this drum, all we need to do is remove these. Now we also need to remove the handbrake cable. So number one, let's put the car in gear, stop it rolling. We've got 2 things. Underneath here, there's a bolt, and then, oh, that piece is missing anyway. Usually a little piece that fills in there, but it's gone. Fair enough. So we just need to get the bolt out of there. We can now lift up the centre console, remove it, and it reveals the handbrake. So what we need to do is wind this back, take any pressure off the handbrake to release that hub. That's nice and loose. Let's go see if we can get that hub off. So I'm looking in here now, and you know, to me, all looks well. I think some of that knocking sound, some of that sound was just all this rust. I mean, just look at the rust on this thing. It's a right mess. But inside, the drum looks good. Brake pads look really good on here. Plenty of meat left on them. No leaking from the cylinder. So yeah, I don't think we need to take these out at all. So I'm going to go clean up this, get rid of as much rust as I can, and then we'll reassemble this, and I think that might solve it. Right, it's all masked up now, so I'm going to hit it with some of this Hammerite metal paint, black smooth finish. And while that one's drying, I'm going to get the other one off. We might as well, and make them both look really nice. Right, that's both of them done now, 2 coats on each. Just going to leave them to dry now, so I'll leave them hanging overnight, and we'll come back, fix them in the morning. Which to me will be a whole night, but for you it'll be instant. And boom, it's the next day now, and these have both dried nicely, so let's get them back on the car. So just need to give the braking surface a clean, just in case there's any residue left over from the sticky tape that I've had on there when I masked it up. And then just refit these brake drums back on to the actual hubs, and they went on nicely, to be honest. Everything looked really nice when it was done. And then we just replace these 2, I think they're just locating pins. And as we don't plan to take this one off again, let's use my new lock-in wheel nuts. And just repeat exactly the same on the other side, putting these locating pins in, fitting back the wheel, and then replace the missing bolt with a lock-in wheel nut. And not forgetting to wind the handbrake back on. And replace the small plastic cover that goes around the handbrake lever. Now that they're on, that means this car mechanically is sound and ready to go. But we're on to the part that I don't enjoy that much, the bodywork. Let's see what we can tidy up here. Now, we've got the front bumper. We've already got this off anyway, because we had this off when we was doing the gearbox. So I've left it off, left it on the stand. So what I need to do really is just tidy this bit and this bit up. I don't think that'll be too much work to do. But I think I'm going to see if I can get this off. But first of all, let's start with what I hope is a quick win. Yes, I want to touch this up with a bit of red paint to make this look just that little bit nicer. Now I have a tin of colour-coded paint, so let's spray this into a bit of a tub, and using these tiny little brushes, let's see if we can touch that up. So firstly, what we'll do, using a bit of isopropyl alcohol, we'll just clean up the area. Again, using one of these tiny little brushes. Right, now I've got his little tub, so I'm going to spray a bit of the paint in there, and then just use a little brush to dab it on, see if we can get it looking better. Yeah, it don't look pretty at the moment, but when that's dried, I'm going to come back, I'm going to remove all the excess off the edges. That should look pretty good. Right, so I just had a good look at this bumper, and this bottom piece here, which looks to be separate, but it's not. It's all one bumper. It's going to make it a little bit harder for me to sort of get in there, but it should be doable. So I've got that piece there. There's a little bit there, look. Just those three pieces there. And we've got to fix the clear so you can see this. I'm assuming you can now see this on the screen. You see this a lot better when it's indoors here, but I've also noticed there's just a bit of clear on the roof as well now. So I've got another piece there that needs doing. But I'll do them after I've done this bumper because I need the red paint for that. That's just going to be a bit of clear on those. So let's start the sanding. I've just put this on time-lapse for you guys because there's 100,000 tutorials on this on YouTube. This ain't what this video is about. This is just me fixing it. Right, this has been a pain in the backside, and I found one of the reasons was I was using some really old clear coat. God, it was like 10 years old. I didn't realise. I just grabbed it off my shelf and I forgot how long I'd had that clear coat, and it just was rubbish. It was dull, it was horrible. So I found some newer clear coat. I should have bought some new stuff when I bought the paint, but I didn't. Anyway, this is what I've done. It's no way brilliant. It's absolutely, well, pants to be honest, but this is an 11-year-old car, and just really touches up that front bumper bit there from looking the black bit it had when all the paint was off. I think that's going to be okay. As for the bonnet, well, this has just got worse and worse as I've sort of worked on it. It's got the clear coat on now. I'm waiting for that to go off, and then I'm going to sand and polish that. Same with this bit here, same that little bit there, and there's just one piece on the roof, not sure if you can see it there as well. So I'm going to get those done, and I'll come back to you when we go to put the bumper back on. So this is pretty standard stuff. Plug in the lights and then put the bumper on and put in the top bolts and clip in the wings and just fasten it down. And then what we need to do is just do a little bit of alignment with the bonnet there and then install the bolts through the wheel arch liner to hold it all together. We then install the bolts from underneath. That stop it flapping about a bit when you're driving. And finally on to the bolts under the other wheel arch liner to finish this install. Right, let's get it out of my garage now, and then we'll give it the final wash and take those pictures. And let's not forget to clean this engine bay. So after taking all the photos, it was time to hit Facebook Marketplace again and get all of this uploaded. Firstly, upload all the photos and then fill in all the details of the car. And for the description, again, I used ChatGPT to create me a really sort of eye-catching description and cut and pasted that into the description box. and I wasn't sure what price to ask for this, so I went onto Auto Trader and looked for very similar cars, and what came back was a range of cars from £2,000 to, well, about 3,700. So I didn't want to be greedy here, so I thought I'll try my car at a nice little £2,600, hoping it should sell pretty quickly. I then added the advert to various other groups that I'm a member of, and then published it. Right guys, and she's still sat on my drive here, so it's going to take a bit longer to sell than I thought it would, which means having to delay these videos. So what we'll do is we'll go do the numbers on this car, and then we'll close this video down, because I know a lot of you guys have been dropping comments in part 1 saying, where's part 2, where's part 2? So this car was advertised for £1,500, but when I got there, I managed to negotiate them down to £1,200, so I've saved £300 straight away on what they wanted for it. Now then, I assumed it was a clutch. My fault there, I diagnosed that wrong, but I bought a clutch which you would have put in anyway if you were changing the gearbox. That was £56. And the gearbox oil which would have been needed to do the clutch, that was £23.58. Of course, the new battery, that was £99. The blue and me fix, that was £47 to send that off via eBay. This is the one that killed me, the gearbox. I had to buy a refurbished gearbox, that was £260. That is not a price I'd factored in for, so that's really killed me. Locking wheel nuts, £20, and the tin of paint, £13.99. All in all, I've spent £1,769.56 getting this car back to be ready for the next owner. But that means I've overspent, because I only had £1,700, so I've actually overspent by £69.56. So if I sell this car for around £2,500, that should make me a profit of over £700 and give me nearly £2,500 to spend on the next car. So you can see from those numbers there, I'm hoping to make a good few pounds on this one, maybe a bit more than we did last time, but I won't know until part 3. And in part 3, guys, I'll reveal what I sold this for when we work on the third car in my Banger to Bull series. Just got to say a massive thanks to all those people who have subscribed since this series started, and also to the amazing comments that I'm getting. Please keep dropping those comments. I love reading every one of them, very interesting. I've replied to a lot of you guys as well. So again, if you haven't already, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and give this one the thumbs up, because it really does help with the analytics. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, stay safe.